Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try to organize your life, there always seems to be something in excess? As if your home is cluttered, but your mind is even more overwhelmed. Maybe you've heard about minimalism, but the truth is that Japanese minimalism goes far beyond just owning fewer things. It teaches deep lessons that can be uncomfortable at first, but they bring a freedom that few truly experience. Today, I want to show you 5 lessons that can open your eyes to a new way of living. Some of them might be hard to accept because they challenge everything we've been taught about comfort, success, and even happiness. But those who go through this process never see life the same way again. If you feel like excess is holding you back, like your home and mind are always full, but never satisfied, then maybe this video has come at the right time. I invite you to stay with me until the end, because after hearing these 5 lessons, you'll never look at your belongings and your life the same way again. Have you ever noticed how our lives often feel full and empty at the same time? It's strange. We surround ourselves with things, cling to them as if they could solve something, as if they could bring a peace that never comes. And so you keep accumulating, planning to buy this or that because it'll be useful one day, and before you know it, you're buried under choices, excess, noise. That's exactly when I discovered Japanese minimalism, and it's not as pretty or perfect as they make it seem. It's real, and sometimes it hurts. What I'm going to share with you today are 5 fundamental lessons I've learned from this philosophy. But I'll warn you now, these lessons often make you uncomfortable. They challenge the way you see your home, your possessions, and even how you view yourself. And you know what? That's what makes it worthwhile. If there's one thing Japanese minimalism truly teaches you, it's the massive difference between living full and living well. You know what impresses me most about Japanese minimalism? It's not just the aesthetic look. That spotless, organized home you've probably seen in some video or photo out there. No, it's what's behind it. It's the meaning. It's the intention. In Japan, the idea of living with less isn't a fad or trend. It's a cultural reflection, a reflection of how they understand life. Their minimalism has deep roots in traditions, in their relationship with the environment, and with what truly matters. This connects with traditional concepts like wabi-sabi, which is the beauty of imperfection, and ma, which is the use of empty space. Just look at the difference. While many people see emptiness as lack, they see emptiness as a pause, a breath, as something necessary to achieve balance. And it makes perfect sense when we stop to think about it. Excess suffocates, overload exhausts. Han-Japanese minimalism, on the contrary, invites us to prioritize what truly deserves to be in our lives. Just the essentials. Nothing more, nothing less. This doesn't mean you have to become a person without things, without decoration, without memories, far from it. Japanese minimalism doesn't teach detachment for the sake of detachment. It's not about throwing everything away and pretending you don't miss it. It's about creating an environment that makes sense to you, where every object has a role, where every choice reflects who you are. When you understand this, you realize that clearing external excess also helps organize what's inside in the mind. This light and balanced philosophy doesn't always come easy, because to get there, you're going to have to face some lessons that, at first, might make you uncomfortable. And that's what we're going to talk about now. Lesson 1. You own much more than you need. It may sound cliché, but when was the last time you looked around and asked yourself, do I actually use this? Do I love this? Does this make a difference? In my life, the truth is we hold on to so much, and in the end, most of it just becomes a burden. Not just a physical burden, but a mental one too. I remember a time when I decided to clean out my closet. You know, when you start thinking it'll be quick. Just move a few things here and there and that's it. But as I started taking out clothes, it felt like I was peeling away layers of a life that wasn't even mine anymore. There was so much stuff I hadn't used in years, clothes that didn't even fit me anymore, objects I had forgotten existed. That's when I realized we don't hold on to things because we love them, but because we're afraid to let go. Afraid of not having them anymore, afraid we might need them one day, afraid of regret. And in the process, we clutter our homes and suffocate our souls. If there's one thing Japanese minimalism teaches, it's this: material things don't exist to control you. They are here to serve a purpose. That's it. If they don't serve one, why are you still holding on to them? This lesson may seem simple, but it's a wake-up call. Because often we realize we're accumulating things for emotional reasons. Clothes you'll never wear again, but that carry a memory. That kitchen gadget that seems useful in theory, but just sits there, taking up space and collecting dust. The big question is, does all of this really hold value? Put it to the test. Open your closet, your drawer, your shelf. Look at all of it and ask yourself honestly, what here makes sense for the present? What here makes me happy? How many things are just there out of guilt for throwing them away, or because they might be useful one day? Japanese minimalism is ruthless on this point. What's the point of keeping things that bring you nothing good? No matter how much you spend or how much you have, you'll never truly be happy in a space full of so many distractions and so little essence. Excess doesn't just take up physical space, it drains energy. Every time you step into a disorganized or overcrowded space, your brain has to process all of it, even if you don't realize it. The chaos on the outside mirrors the chaos inside. And this is where Japanese minimalism opens our eyes. It's not about having or not having, it's about what stays. It's about what truly matters. So from now on, you're going to start looking at your things more closely. What serves you stays. What weighs you down goes. No drama, no guilt. Just like that. Only in this way can you make room for something bigger to come in, whether it's more lightness, more calm, or even true happiness. Lesson 2, the power of silence. And I'm not just talking about noise. I'm talking about the silence that exists within a space, within your home, and as a result within yourself. Look around you right now and tell me, is there silence? Or is everything filled up, taking up every corner? In Japanese minimalism, silence is golden. They believe that only when there is both physical and emotional space can true beauty emerge. I don't know if you've noticed, but minimalist spaces in Japan have something unique. Often they seem empty to those who don't understand the philosophy. Clean walls, spaced out objects, almost bare floors. But it's not emptiness. That's visual silence. It's a lack of excess that brings balance and peace. The funny thing is, once you get used to it, you realize that this silence calls you inward. There's no distraction, no clutter competing for your attention. It's just you and that pure, honest space breathing with you. Now think about a messy or overcrowded place. It's impossible to find calm there. The silence disappears, and in its place comes noise. Not just literal noise, but the noise of clutter, of mental confusion. Every object sitting there without a purpose screams, "Look at me. Organize this, deal with that." It's as if the external chaos becomes an internal reflection. And that's why Japanese minimalism teaches that less is not less. Less is space. And space is an opportunity. It's freedom, it's beauty. When you remove the excess and allow silence to enter, the things that really matter begin to appear. The piece of furniture you love, but that was lost in the mess. That natural light you hadn't noticed anymore because your window was blocked with things. The sound of a breeze, the smell of wood, the touch of an object chosen with care. These things carry more emotional weight than anything accumulated without meaning. Your home needs to breathe, just like you. Look around and ask yourself, what here is shouting louder than it should? What's suffocating the silence that should be present? Remember, silence is not emptiness. It's what enhances the essential. And every time you create space in a room, you also create space within yourself. It's the beauty of silence that transforms. And once you understand this, it becomes easier to see the next step. How simplicity fuels a feeling so rare these days. Gratitude. Lesson 3. Fewer things, more gratitude. You know what happens when you start living with less. Suddenly you discover that what's left isn't little. In fact, what's left is everything. It's what truly matters. Japanese minimalism teaches you to value the essentials, but above all, it teaches you to feel gratitude in a way you never imagined before. Because in the end, how can you be grateful for everything you have if you can't even see what really matters through all the excess? Have you ever noticed how, in many Japanese homes, everything seems to have meaning? It's not about quantity, but about quality. A single object can tell a story. A rug can bring calm. A bowl can have its own life, with imperfections that make it unique. Every detail that remains in a minimalist space exists for a reason, and that creates an emotional connection with the space. And where there's connection, there's gratitude. Now compare that to what we're used to: drawers stuffed with things we don't even remember owning, closets full of clothes we'll never wear again, shelves lined with decorations we don't even like anymore. How can you value anything when there's so much around you competing for your attention? The truth is, excess blinds you to the things that truly have value. It strips objects of their meaning because everything becomes a generic pile. But when you slowly remove what isn't essential, when you clear away the excess, what's left gains a different kind of glow. That's when you start to feel gratitude for what's with you, for the simplicity, for the choice of each detail. I know it might seem strange at first. Letting go of so much can feel like a loss. But if you take a moment to reflect, how much of what you accumulate really makes you happier? Japanese minimalism teaches that by living with less, we finally learn to value more. More of what's present, more of what lasts, more of what resonates with who we are now, not who we used to be or who we think we should be. And maybe the biggest lesson here is this: you don't need much to be happy. You just need to recognize what's already there with you, because it's in the small details that gratitude blooms. And when gratitude blooms, it transforms how you live. This sets the stage for the next great truth. Living simply isn't a limitation. On the contrary, it's exactly what sets you free. Lesson 4. Simplicity sets you free. When was the last time you felt like you had total control over the space where you live? And I'm not just talking about organization. I'm talking about the feeling that when you look around, you see a place that truly brings you peace, a place that breathes with you, that gives you the freedom to be who you are. For many people, that seems distant, almost impossible, because we're used to carrying everything, things, stories, other people's expectations, and without realizing it, we become prisoners of what we've accumulated. And here's where Japanese minimalism drops a phrase that should make everyone stop and think. Everything that doesn't serve you holds you down. Hold you down. It's a strong verb, but it makes sense. Look at this. Every object you keep, even without realizing it, demands something from you. It takes up space. It consumes your attention. It carries an energy that one way or another speaks to you daily. And all that baggage, when added up, starts to suffocate you. Every packed closet, every room filled with piled up stuff, every corner that never sees the light of day, all of it keeps you stuck. Stuck in commitments you didn't want to make, stuck in choices you don't even remember making. And the worst part, stuck in a weight that stops you from feeling light. Now let's think about the other side. What if your home was simple? What if you chose to keep only what really matters, what truly has a purpose or meaning? Do you know what happens? More than just an organized space, you create something much bigger: freedom. You open up space in every sense. Physical space, yes, but also space inside yourself. Always remember, each thing you remove is a relief, a prison that comes undone. And the most beautiful thing about Japanese minimalism is how simplicity not only sets you free, but also connects you. It connects you to the present moment because you start to value what's right in front of you, not what you wanted or thought you needed. It connects you with your home because every object that stays was chosen with care. It connects you with yourself because living simply is giving yourself permission to exist without the weight of so many distractions. Before you think you need another piece of furniture, another outfit, or just one more new thing, maybe it's worth asking yourself, what do I already have here that's enough? Because simplicity is where freedom lives, and there's nothing that brings more peace than feeling free, light, and in complete control of the space that welcomes you. And it's within this simplicity that another truth comes out, one we often try to ignore. We are responsible for the energy in our home. And when that energy isn't aligned with who we are, everything feels heavier than it should, but don't worry, you can change that. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about now. Lesson 5. You are responsible for the energy of your home. We've reached the final lesson and perhaps the most powerful one of all. You are responsible for the energy of your home. It might sound obvious, but how often do we really stop to think about it? Every choice you make, every object you bring into your home, every detail you decide to keep or discard, everything affects the energy of the space you live in. And in turn, it affects your own energy. Our home is a direct reflection of who we are and how we feel. When everything is in order, when every item has its place, when the space is light and organized, it reflects a calm mind, a balanced life. But when the home is cluttered, full of accumulated stuff, of objects without purpose, what does that say about our mind? About our heart? Japanese minimalism teaches that the energy of the home is sacred. They believe that the home should be a place of peace, renewal, and harmony. And it all starts with our choices. Every object you decide to keep should have a clear purpose, should bring joy, and should contribute to the well-being of the space. If it doesn't, it's time to let it go. I know it can be hard. We hold on to things for so many reasons: memories, fears, insecurities. But remember what we talked about earlier. Everything that no longer serves you holds you back. And more than that, everything that no longer serves you pollutes the energy of your home. And when your home's energy is polluted, you feel it. You feel it in the fatigue, in the lack of motivation, in the difficulty of finding peace. The big question is, what kind of energy do you want in your home? What kind of environment do you want to create for yourself and for the ones you love? Your home should be a refuge, a place where you feel good, where you can be yourself without unnecessary burdens. And it starts with the responsibility of choosing what comes in and what goes out. Look around you right now. Feel the energy of your space. Is it light or is it heavy? What can you do today, right now, to improve that energy? Maybe it's opening a window and letting fresh air in. Maybe it's getting rid of that pile of things you don't even use anymore. Maybe it's simply pausing to appreciate what you already have. Because at the end of the day, the energy of your home is the energy you put into it, and you have the power to change that. So tell me, are you ready to take on that responsibility? Are you ready to create a space that truly reflects who you are and who you want to be? If the answer is yes, leave it in the comments. I choose lightness. I want to see who's committed to transforming not just their home, but their life. Because when we choose lightness, we choose happiness. Out of these 5 lessons, which one resonated with you the most? For me, realizing that so much of what I held on to was just taking up space in my life was liberating. But it's a process we reflect on every day. If this video made sense to you, share it with someone you think also needs this transformation. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, because together we can keep walking this path toward living with more intention and more lightness. See you in the next video.